Every once in a while, a game comes along and leaves a lasting impression on a player. Super Mario Bros. Did it way back in the 80s and single-handedly saved video game. Halo did it in the 90s and brought today's most popular genre to the forefront.
Am I right, Marine? Sir, yes, sir!
Chief,
How about you?
damn, where do I start?
Start with the best part.
Uncharted did it for me in the late 2000s with a cinematic experience to an unforgettable game. For some, it was the Breath of the Wild that revitalized the Legend of Zelda franchise earlier this year. For myself and other PlayStation owners, that game this year was Horizon Zero Dawn. It didn't really throw anything new at you, but it melded so many video game tropes together so well that it was nominated for Game of the Year. Guerilla Games, known for the first-person shooter Killzone franchise, was treading new territory with a third-person open-world RPG. No one expected that Horizon would be as successful and beloved as it is. It is really one of the best games I've played in a really long time. Being a new IP, Guerrilla was smart not by putting all of its eggs in one basket. There was no DLC planned, there was no season pass, and there were no god-awful microtransactions. Hell, you couldn't even buy the deluxe and pre-order items after launch. Once Horizon proved itself, Guerrilla decided to add an expansion, and now we have the Frozen Wilds. Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds opens an expansive area in the northeastern part of the map and adds about 15 hours worth of side quests and errands involving the Banuk tribe that was lightly touched upon in the main story. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the best looking games on PlayStation 4 and makes the most of the PlayStation 4 Pro. Frozen Wild runs at 2160p at 30 frames per second in HDR. In all honesty, you'd be hard pressed to find a better looking game on the PlayStation 4. Being in the frozen waste, the added snow effects add to the atmosphere and even impact character movement. As in the main game, the characters are very well represented, and each tribe is different and has its own significant look, and the Banuk are no different. They tend to weave more of the technology into their physical bodies than the Oseram or the Karja or the Nora tribes. They did some different camera work with the conversation scenes to mix up the monotony when speaking to NPCs. The demonized machines are like the corrupted machines, but are colored differently to signify the difference. The new machines added for the Frozen Wilds are impressive, especially the Frost Claw and the Giant Fire Claw. The minimalist music fits the style of the world Guerrilla has done an impressive job building. The music continues to change when you've been spotted by an enemy, so if you're not paying attention, you will hear it before you see it. Otherwise, the sound is Skywalker sound good, and the voice acting continues to be another strong point in an already strong game. Ashley Burch will have some job security because it seems like Aloy will be staying with us for a while. So the visuals are top-notch and the sound is excellent, but Guerrilla really outdid itself with the gameplay. The Frozen Wilds doesn't really offer anything new, but that's really okay. What Horizon Zero Dawn does, it does really, really well, and any reason to play more of it, I'm totally fine with that. The main story follows the Banuk and explores their beliefs and cultures in the form of side quests and fetch quests appropriately called errands. There's a new armor, but nothing compared to the Shield Weaver from the main story. There is a new currency in the form of Blue Gleam that you can find everywhere with a little bit of effort and earning them through side quests. You can purchase upgraded weapons and unlock new skills on your way to the raised level cap of 60. There's a new section added to the skill tree, and the skills are nothing to note, but include a few quality of game life improvements, like being able to heal overridden machines, collecting resources while being mounted, and the Hoarder perk that expands your inventory. One skill that especially helped at the end of the game was the dismount strike, and this does exactly what it sounds like it does. While mounted, you can jump up and critical strike an enemy, in most cases one-shot killing them. And now for the extras, there's a few new collectibles to find, like animal statues, data recordings, and pigments that can be exchanged for resource packs with special merchants. There's one bandit camp, one hunter's lodge, and one cauldron. Instead of corrupted zones, there are control towers thrown all over the map that you can destroy or override. Note to self, if you're going to override them, run in and override them before you decide to take on the enemies guarding each tower. You'll thank me for it. While the towers are active, they will overwhelm your shield weaver armor, they will overwhelm your mount, and heal the enemies in the process. The cauldron at the end side quest mission is one of my favorite dungeons out of all the cauldrons in the entire game. Finishing the cauldron, of course, allows you to override the undemonized versions of the new enemies. That will give you a run for your money. The Thunderjaws ended up being pretty routine by the end of my first playthrough of the main game, but the Fireclaw is an entirely different story. These machines are much tougher than their corrupted brethren. Even with the Shield Weaver armor was a bit of a welcome challenge. The Tall Neck challenge was a nice change of pace too. In order to compete the Tall Neck in this region, you would have to first find the parts to fix it, fighting off machines in the process. Once you fix it, it just gets up and walks away. Then, you must find a way to climb up to the top and override it. It's also interesting to see how the environment affects your gameplay. The snow actually hinders your movement, and you can see that in Aloy's movement. The deeper the snow, the harder it is to move around. It's a pain, but a really nice attention to detail. The errands were pretty typical. These guys need help over there, now go help them over there, but they feel very natural. You never feel like they're just sending you somewhere for some arbitrary reason. The main story follows the path of the shaman that is communicating with a computer AI that is fighting off a hostile program, very much similar to that of Gaia fighting off Hades from the main story. The story also has you in the middle of a touching quarrel between brother and sister that sheds more light on the mysterious Banuk tribe. The missions here don't really add anything new to Horizon Zero Dawn, but just tweak an already amazing game. One revelation at the end does open up Horizon Zero Dawn to expand in the future, as there is no doubt a sequel on the way.
You've been a revelation. Now I know for certain that the spirit endures. Perhaps together we can find a way to set it free.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I came all this way for answers, and so far, I haven't heard any.
It seems to me that you are the answer. But of course, I'll tell you all I can.
I only have 2 complaints about my experience with Horizon Zero Dawn, and only one of them has to do with the Frozen Wilds. One is the items menu and the merchant menu. They did add the ability to break down unwanted resources to metal shards, but selling and breaking down of items is a chore, and I usually just ignore it unless I really need the inventory space. The other complaint is the lack of any armor better than the Shield Weaver. Guerilla added new armor sets for Frozen Wilds, but nothing beats that old Shield Weaver that renders you invulnerable for a short period of time. I don't know, would I rather look warm, or would I rather be invulnerable for a few seconds? I'll take invulnerable for a few seconds any day. You know, it still surprises me how many people have not played Horizon Zero Dawn. It is really one of the best games this year, one of my favorite experiences since being introduced to the Uncharted series on PlayStation 3. Frozen Wilds doesn't do much to change the overall experience, but that's okay. Horizon Zero Dawn is so good that I'm happy just to be playing it again. Both the environment and the added machines add a nice challenge for seasoned players, and the reveal at the end promises to expand this new virtual world. With Uncharted winding down, Sony needed a new IP to keep Sony's hold on the quality console exclusives, and Frozen Wilds cements that slot for Horizon Zero Dawn. If you haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, go out right now, get it, you will not be disappointed. If you have Horizon Zero Dawn or have played it and looking for a reason to get back into it without repeating the game on New Game Plus, go get the Frozen Wilds. Let us know what you think. Have you played Horizon Zero Dawn? Don't you love it? I love it. Have you or will you get the Frozen Wilds expansion? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for taking the time to watch our review of Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds. And as always, hit that like and subscribe button to keep up with our news, reviews, and playthroughs every week right here at Game Nation.
Ooh.